Hello everyone, it's the weekend. Welcome again to Massey United Insurance's Line and Length. It's a cricket program where we look at the sport not only in the region, but internationally as well. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Coming up on today's show, well, it's the West Indies in Australia being shown live and exclusive on Digicel Sportsmax, but it has not been brilliant viewing thus far in the middle of the first test, where the West Indies have indeed struggled somewhat. On today's show, Ian Bishop, former West Indies and T&T fast bowler who is now a prolific commentator, joins us to discuss what's going wrong with the fast bowling unit in West Indies cricket and also their lack of aggression that's not being shown for the West Indies. We're also going to talk about that series with South Africa and India. The pitches were the main bone of contention. Why have the pitches been so poorly prepared for the South Africans? The West Indies went there years ago, well, last year really, and year before, and although they were beaten, they still have some semblance of success. We discussed that. We also look at the ongoing WICB PCL cricket tournament. You're watching Massey United Insurance's Line and Length. We'll be right back.
Across the Caribbean, more people are placing their trust in Massey United Insurance for the protection of the things that are important to them, their homes, businesses, and their prized possessions. That's because Massey United Insurance offers excellent general insurance coverage to help you manage whatever life sends your way. Our cadre of well-reputed agencies and trained insurance professionals are always ready to provide you with sound advice and prompt service. Choose the security and sound strength that is Massey United Insurance.
So welcome back then to Massey United Insurance's Line and Length. As promised, we're going to go live now to Trinidad and Tobago and talk with Ian Bishop, the former West Indies and Trinidad and Tobago fast bowler who's now doing a great job as a commentator. Ian, I want to dive right into a familiar area of yours, and that is fast bowling, one of aggression. Early days yet in this series, we don't want to be too judgmental at all, but I want to talk about the fast bowling department of the West Indies team. First up, I know Curtly Ambrose is the bowling consultant, but when you look at this fast bowling department, are we still developing, Ian, aggressive fast bowlers like we did in the 80s and 90s?
I don't know that we have those resources at our handle right now. Shannon Gabriel is obviously quick, but he has some skills that he needs to refine. His control, his ability to do something with the ball has been talked about a lot. Jerome Taylor is probably the most skillful. Kemar Roach has lost pace. So I am not so enamored on trying to build aggressive fast bowlers as I am enamored with trying to build good fast bowlers who are able to give me control, who are able to do something with the ball, and who are able to adjust in situations.
Ian, early days yet, like I continue to say, but you have 2 tests left after this. Australia's batting is not a great batting lineup, but they seem to be pretty formidable. What would you say is the West Indies' biggest worry as they continue this test match and they look ahead to 2 more tests?
Let me first of all say that I wouldn't say surprised at the way things went on day one, but the magnitude of loose deliveries and half volleys that were dished out yesterday surprised me a bit, simply because I thought the West Indies bowling had been a little bit better over the last 2 or 3 series. They didn't show any control last night in building pressure from both ends, and again, the myriad number of bad balls was a little surprising. If it didn't surprise anyone else, the volume of it surprised me. So they have to be able to show the control of bowling one side of the pitch, of bowling a consistent length. Everyone's talking about aggression, but the short balls are going to disappear to the boundary anyway if they aren't followed up or aren't preempted with good length delivery. So unless those fundamentals are in place, they're going to struggle in the series. So I'm looking forward to day 2 and the rest of the test match and the rest of the series to see whether they can exhibit any control.
The commentators were quite critical of Curtly Ambrose, saying that they thought he was too animated, he was too forceful with how he tried to G up his fast bowling unit and his bowling team altogether. Do you see anything wrong with that approach to try and instill some aggression or trying to G the players up?
No, there are different ways to approach it. You have to be in the dressing room to understand what are the needs and requirements of this group of current fast bowlers. So I think what Kirtley is, where Kirtley's strength is that he's been a great fast bowler, and he will be listened to if he says, fellas, we need to apply some discipline. He's more of a guy who tries to get into the mind of the bowlers. And maybe there's a time and place for that. Maybe it's not supposed to be at every interval. Maybe on the morning session and maybe a little talk after the day's play. What I think is important, though, my observation of looking at these bowlers, I think they need Kirtley, whoever is there, whoever is going to be around, to be a technical person, to be able to plan and structure and communicate better, more meticulous planning, and to help one or two guys with some technical issues. And I think if Kirtley's the man there, the incumbent, I think he has to delve adequately into that factor of the bowling as well.
Ian, if we talk more technical, as you just mentioned, in terms of the technical aspect relating to the fast bowling, if we look at the combination now, Phil Simmons is back after his hiatus, Stuart Williams is there, I believe Andre Coley is there as well. It seems to me a rather strange combination of the coaching, in terms of the coaching aspect for the West Indies team.
Elaborate on that for me when you say it seems strange, because it's sort of a wide-ranging question.
Well, what I mean is we have Kirtley as a bowling consultant. I believe we have Stuart Williams as a batting consultant. So it kind of leaves Phil Simmons as the main technical person, and perhaps he needs some assistance in the technical area. I don't know if you're following what I'm saying now.
Okay, yeah, it's very clear to me now. Well, I mean, when people say a consultant really should come in, and I'm not saying that these guys don't have it, I'm just talking about the word consultant. It doesn't sort of disregard technical expertise, you know. I mean, when you have a Graham Gooch who came in, or a Ram Prakash who came in, whether as coach or consultant, the head coach in modern day cricket seems to be more of a facilitator. We've known that over the years. So he brings in these people. So I would assume with Ambrose coming in, he would have come in with a particular target in mind. There would have been a need in the team. Those who hired him would have said, look, he fills that need. Stuart Williams, same thing. Andre Coley, same thing. So being a consultant, I think, doesn't preclude the fact that there's some technical expertise within that person. But again, I'm not in the camp to know, the strengths and weaknesses there. But just as a general word consultant, it doesn't preclude technical expertise.
In terms of the selection now of the team for this first test, a bit surprising to me, certainly, because it seems that we have weighed heavily on our bowling, and clearly it hasn't worked this time around. And I'm very, very worried about the batting aspect, because the batsmen have not been delivering, and yet in my estimation, we're kind of short on the batting, with Ramdin batting at 6, I believe, and Jason Hall at 7.
It is where the West Indies team find themselves. It's not a comfortable situation, because to win test matches, you really need to be able to get 20 wickets. So I see them as trying to play a unit that will get 20 wickets, and hoping that the all-round capabilities or potential all-round capabilities of a Jason Holder with the bat and a Ramdin would be able to fill that breach. But right now, the batting is so weak and inexperienced, and the bowling hasn't hit the straps yet in this first test match, which again, the magnitude surprises me. It's just the way West Indies cricket finds itself right now. If you play the extra batsman, you're probably going to struggle to get 20 wickets against good teams. So, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Bish, what is the way out for the West Indies? I mean, let me consult you free for just a moment.
Consultants are usually paid, Bish.
I know consultants are usually paid very high, but I don't have that money. I'm so sorry. But what do you think is the way out? Because as a West Indies fan, as a journalist, as someone who has to listen to comments from Ian Chappell, for example, you tend to get very angry at times. What's the way out for our cricket right now? I'm talking test per se. We won't worry about the 50 over and T20 just yet. Test cricket.
That's an interesting comment you make, Barry, and I hope that I don't sort of elongate the answer to this.
It's fine.
This is my view. I know many of your myriad viewers will have a different view on the imbalance of the team, the captaincy, and all of that. I think I'm realistic about where West Indies cricket is right now. I look at the first class competition and I know the level is not great. And that's where Australia, even with a transitional team, their domestic cricket is stronger than ours. So whoever they bring in is more than able to compete well against the lower ranked teams. So I don't see any short-term fixes. I'm looking at the fast bowling resources right now in the Caribbean with the test team away, and I'm not seeing, apart from Alzari Joseph, who's only 18 or 19 and who's up and coming in his first season, I'm not seeing many of the guys, Miguel Cummins and one or two of the other guys really developing in the way that I see it. So I think we're a couple of years off. I like what I see in Ralston Chase and Shamar Brooks, who's now 26, 27, now seems to be developing. Singh from Ghana, a couple of hundreds. But still, we're a couple of years off of these guys really understanding what is required of them. So you talk about 50 overs, you don't want to talk about that. I'm going to be a little bit, I suppose, out of the box a little bit or a little bit on the aside. I actually think the bulk of our experience in the region is in white ball cricket. And I think I'm all for test cricket, I'm all for targeting test cricket, but I think we're doing that to the detriment of where our better chance of developing West Indies cricket and winning trophies on the world stage is in white ball cricket. You look at the experienced guys, the Sammies, the Russells, the Pollards, the Bravos. Unfortunate for Narayan now, he's had problems with his action that has been revealed on world stage. But we are neglecting white ball cricket, and I think white ball cricket is our quickest avenue back to relevance, which will spill over into a test match game. And that's the way I see it.
All right, wonderful stuff. Ian, don't go away. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to still talk white ball cricket, but this time we're going to move it to India, where South Africa were just humbled, humiliated. If it was the West Indies, would it be the same kind of reaction? We'll be right back right here on Master United Insurance's Line on Net.
Across the Caribbean, more people are placing their trust in Massey United Insurance for the protection of the things that are important to them, their homes, businesses, and their prized possessions. That's because Massey United Insurance offers excellent general insurance coverage to help you manage whatever life sends your way. Our cadre of well-reputed agencies and trained insurance professionals are always ready to provide you with sound advice and prompt service. Choose the security and sound strength that is Massey United Insurance.
Welcome back then to Mass United Insurance's Line of Length. Ian Bishop is still with us. We're continuing to talk Test cricket. And you know, Andrew, I love to talk Test cricket because it seems like, it continues to seem, although there's so many T20 leagues, Gail got a big score in it. Yeah, you know, but
we won't remember next week, will we?
I'm not going to remember that. I forgot it already. Test cricket is where it's at. In world cricket, you look at the South Africa-Indian series and how that has gone. People are going to remember the series, for me, for the Indians allegedly preparing very poor pitches. Ian, I want to tap in on that piece from you because I know that the match referees have been writing reports. I know that the South Africans have had a mouthful to say. Do you think that the pitches, I mean from your distance, do you think the pitches have been prepared that badly that South Africa weren't able to compete?
I look at the Nagpur pitch and I thought that was a little too dry. It spun a little too much too early, and that's not the type of pitch that I would like to see being prepared at this level. And there are going to be various opinions on it, but that is my view. The pitches either side of that were challenging, but I don't think they were unfair. And that is what India felt they needed in order to defeat South Africa, given the way the one-day series went. So there's a lot of talk about the toss and abandoning the toss so that pitches, whether it be in India or England or Australia, aren't going to be disadvantageously prepared against the visiting team. Well, I think India would still prepare turning pitches for visiting teams because they feel that their spinners are better and also their batsmen are able to play spin well. So I don't think it would have made a difference there. But you expect to get turning pitches when you go to India. I just felt the Nagpur pitch turned more than any of the pitches that I've seen there in recent years.
Generally, the South Africans with A.B. de Villiers, who in my mind is the best batsman in the world, they were also quite critical of how the curators handled their thoughts and opinions towards them criticizing the state of pitches. How can a match referee, because I don't know how it works anyway, but I'm just supposing since he's the one who's complaining, how can a match referee get involved in ensuring that there is fairness in a pitch preparation?
I don't know that he can
get
involved in it. I think that would be beyond his remit, and I would be able to stand corrected. What is a problem as well is that modern day cricket, and you would have heard the view espoused before, that when the ball moves off the straight, batsmen are struggling in the modern game, whether it be by swing or by spin. So a lot of the defensive techniques and application and the scoring rates have been so much geared to quick scoring that guys are not as sharp in their defensive capabilities. So I think the ICC really, I wouldn't do away with the toss. I think the toss is an integral part of the game and not so much a problem. I think it's just a matter of each country understanding how important Test cricket is and finding the balance between trying to win and utilize their home conditions and being fair to the game.
How do South Africa rebound from such a humiliating defeat in India? Hashim Amla, as the new captain, was under tremendous pressure. He has not been in good form. How can they rebound and respond, having suffered such a humiliating successive defeats?
It was also the first time in 9 years
that
they've beaten
lost
an
overseas tour.
tour.
And there are some reasons for that. I mean, Graham Smith is gone. Jack Callis is no longer there. And those are huge deficits in any batting lineup. Remember when Viv went and Greenwich went and Haynes went, what happened to West Indies, and a little period for Australia when...
and we still haven't recovered yet, Bish. We still haven't recovered yet.
That's another issue. That is a systemic issue, which can be spoken about at another time. I agree with you, though, by the way. So South Africa is going through their own transition, like Sri Lanka, like Australia, like the protracted West Indies transition. Hashim Amla losing form as well is a big thing. So I think we're going to find out whether this is just a blip on the radar or whether this is something more serious for South Africa when they clash against England coming up shortly. Because their batting, which is the big thing that led them down in India, is now going to have to cope with Broad and Anderson and company, even though they're playing on South African tracks.
Interestingly, earlier this week, we heard Graham Smith, you just mentioned, indicating a possibility of making a return to the South African team. What do you make of that, Ian?
I had heard rumors about that before during the World Cup. I was hanging out with a contemporary of Graham, and there was some rumors that his premature retirement his retirement from Test cricket was a little bit premature for family reasons. And it was rumored to me during the World Cup as well that he may think, given that his marriage is over, of coming back into international cricket for a number of reasons. So it doesn't surprise me, even though his form had tailed off just before retirement. If I were to be honest, knowing Graham, I would say come back and give it a try. I mean, if you come back and you give it a try and you fail, fair enough, but he's 34. I mean, guys can go on batting well until they're 38, 39, in some cases 40. So I don't think he has much to lose. And South Africa's opening batting isn't.
Yeah, they do have a problem at the top of the order. They certainly do. Yeah.
Finally, Ian, the Nagico Super 50 to start in January. From looking at the fixtures in terms of the availability, we might have a situation where the big name players should be available. Do you think it's in their best interest to come forward and play? I'm particularly talking about Pollard and Bravo once Pollard is fit, and play in this tournament to try and prove themselves to still try and get in to the 50-over team for the West Indies.
Absolutely. If they're fit, if they are available, I would say to these guys, come out and play for several reasons. I know that in my white ball statement a little while ago, I know the West Indies have not qualified for the Champions Trophy, the upcoming one. But that is by the way. There's a World Cup in a few years' time. Come out, play, because all of the other domestic players can only benefit from playing against those guys, whoever is available, it will raise the standard of the tournament. It will create interest. And as I said, the bulk of West Indies cricket experience right now is in white ball cricket. We have to, if I were to give advice, I would say, yes, try to develop your first class and test players. But right now, I would advise more importance as well being attributed to one, your 50 over team and your T20 team, which has been a very strong team. And I think they have not been given the attention or preparation that is necessary. It will spill over into the test match arena, I think, if these teams give us some relevance again on the world stage. So come back and play. The region needs it.
All right, wonderful stuff. Ian Bishop, so good to hear from you. When we come back, we're going to still talk some news and other things happening in our cricket. Stay with us. You're watching Massey United Insurance's Line and Length.
Across the Caribbean, more people are placing their trust in Massey United Insurance for the protection of the things that are important to them, their homes, businesses, and their prized possessions. That's because Massey United Insurance offers excellent general insurance coverage to help you manage whatever life sends your way. Our cadre of well-reputed agencies and trained insurance professionals are always ready to provide you with sound advice and prompt service. Choose the security and sound strength that is Massey United Insurance.
So we're back on our show. Now, Ian Bishop is always going to tap into his mind. I think he has a lot to offer West Indies cricket.
Perhaps another consultant in the making, we're not sure.
I don't know. I don't want to say too much about that. But look, what's ongoing is the WICB's Professional Cricket League, almost at the halfway stage. Guyana Jaguars have done and are doing very well. Shivnarine Shanapal we had on our program about a couple of weeks ago, and generally he was saying that this WICB Professional Cricket League, he wants to give it another 3-4 years because he thinks it can seriously develop. What's your take so far on the PCL? This is the second year it's running. What's your take on it? Well,
interestingly enough, we had Philo Wallace venturing a discussion on that last week right here on the program. I am very much like Philo. I'm not sure if the individual territories have bought into the regional PCL, because Barry, the reality is that the tournament is on, but we seem to have so little information and so opportunity to find out anything about the tournament. We have heard quite a bit about Vishal Singh. You would have seen him in Guyana. Apparently he's batting quite well. But we're not getting any information on Vishal Singh. Shamar Brooks, Roston Chase are batting quite well.
Yeah, they're very consistent.
Nikita Miller is continuing to do well. That's a player who's been around for a while. But I'm not sure that we are seeing any new players coming into the tournament. So the professional, in the sense that players are being paid, but I'm not sure if it's professional in any other way.
Well, the thing about it is that I think they need to play year-round. Not necessarily in a match situation or first-class situation, but the Broncos, for example, they are a team unit
in season and out
of season.
Right.
Arsenal, all the football teams, all of the professional cricket teams. Mm-hmm. For example, you have the county teams are together they just have a 6-week vacation.
And then
they're together, they play out of season, they come to the Caribbean, they come to South Africa. So there is a sense of purpose within their team, and I just get the impression that there's a draft that goes on. People are drafted into the team, but then they don't start playing together till a week or two before the tournament. So I think there needs to be that level of professionalism to really make it a true sense. But I admire what is being done, because something obviously needs to continue to be done to help improve the standard of our cricket.
Well, you're correct, and we have seen some individual performances, as I put it, some individual performances which give us hope. As Ian mentioned, we haven't seen the rise of any outstanding fast bowlers except for Alzari Joseph from the Leeward Islands team, which is at a rock bottom again. They continue to recycle the same players, and I have a problem with that. If these players have not delivered over the past 5 to 6 years, why are we continuing with them in the Leewards? The Windwards performance, there have been some issues, especially the pitch in Dominica. But once again, Guyana continues to dominate, and perhaps it is something within the Guyanese system that we may need to look at, their domination of regional 4-day cricket at the moment.
I saw 2 very promising fast bowlers from the combined campuses and colleges in the Ranajik National Super 50 this year, and they were not selected, or they were not drafted.
Where are they?
Well, one is from Jamaica. Both are from Jamaica, actually, but they were not drafted. They were not selected as part of the PCL. So CCC is not playing. So obviously they're out in the wilderness, not playing any cricket.
Will they be in the Nagico Super 50 then? Or
well, CCC is playing in the Nagico
right, so
Super
they'll
50.
Be,
so,
yeah.
so I guess unless they've regressed that badly, that they his name is Powell. I can't remember the other youngster's name. Not Rovman Powell, who plays here in Barbados, but there's another Powell, very tall fast bowler, raw but had some potential.
So are you suggesting, Barry, that there's some selectoral issues in terms of choosing the draft for the regional PCL?
I would say there's selectoral issues. I would say that I would like to see the CCC back into the, PCL. Because I think that my campuses and colleges offered that opportunity for development of talent, and that's what we were looking for. And I know money is a big factor. I empathize with how the board has to manage their funds and their finances with these tournaments. It's hard. But a team like the ICC Americas too would love to see it in a regional 40 setup, or the USA. Because I think that if you have these influences, there is more scope for better development for the West Indies cricket. Always good when you had Bangladesh. You had Bangladesh A.
Yes, and they have been
the England
discussion.
Lions played in the tournament.
That's right.
And that is really where our cricket needs to be, to get that sense of professionalism, Andrew. And I think that's what we really need to get for this PCL.
Well, we were hearing that the regional PCL would be expanded to include overseas teams, but we haven't heard anything. I guess it's just embryonic, only in the second year. So perhaps we are being a little too critical, but it's only in its second year.
Yeah, not critical at all. I just think it's a case where you want to see that the whole development get some fresh ideas and some fresh thinking going forward as they go into year 3. All right. That's it for our program. We're out of time. Thanks so much. Continue to send your emails to cricket@lineandlength.net, or you can go on Twitter, where our handle is @lineandlength. Thanks to Ian Bishop. Thanks to Andrew Seeley and Barry Wilkinson. That's it for another week. Until next week. Bye-bye for now.